Independent dealers adjusted prices most aggressively because they can. If they feel the heat round the corner, they can walk away in 30 seconds flat, reduced. Whereas the big dealers, the supermarkets, by the time they get to the bottom, it's like the Forth Bridge. They've gone down again. Have to start at the top. They'll have somebody just sat there reducing prices all day. Values falling by 3.6%, while franchise dealers and car supermarkets held prices more firmly to protect margins. No, it's because they couldn't move as quick as the independents. This is a joke. Beginnings of stability after a year of adjustments. The pressure on EVs was echoed in the latest AA Cars Used Car Index, which shows prices of the UK's most searched for electric and hybrid vehicles fell for the fourth consecutive quarter. So is that the 12th consecutive month? In quarter 4 2025, average prices across the top 20 EVs and hybrids dropped by 1.5% quarter on quarter to 16,826. Okay, let me ask you a question. Why have they included hybrids in there? Should I tell you why? Because hybrids didn't go down as much as electric vehicles. So, pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. The lengths they go to protect the electric vehicle story is unbelievable. 1.5% quarter on quarter to 16,826, and we're down 9.3% year on year. The AA Cars data highlights sharp annual declines for some models, including the Nissan Leaf, which has fallen by nearly 40% in value over the past 12 months. It's fallen by 40% in value over 12 months. A little Nissan Leaf that Fred and Martha pensioners would buy to save themselves money going backwards and forwards to the shops. They'd have been better off buying a Mustang Bullet. All right? They'd have been better off buying a 5-litre Mustang Bullet because it would cost them less than their Nissan Leaf has done running it.
Unfortunately, I can't show you the actual original post that I responded to because the person has deleted it. But it was a claim how cheap his Nissan Leaf was to run, and I ridiculed it. This was it. My reply was on May the 13th, 2023. I'm sorry, but actually, it's your statement that's nonsense. And to illustrate my point, I've used your Nissan Leaf. In the last 6 months, it has depreciated by £12,000. To put that into perspective, that's enough to buy 1,929 gallons of fuel and drive 96,463 miles at 50 miles per gallon. On the other hand, a Ford Mustang 5-litre petrol has only depreciated by £500, so it's cheaper to drive one of them. There is in fact a glut of EVs on the market, new, pre-registered delivery mileage and genuine used, which is forcing many car dealers to operate a no EVs in part exchange policy. You evangelists need to stop burying your head in the sand. He deleted his post. So there's a guy on here who is a big EV Nissan Leaf spokesperson. He had one and his dad has one now. I've just done a quick comparison of his Leaf and a Micra. Same year, mileage. So here goes. 2018 Nissan Leaf, £32,835 new, retail today. With 53,000 miles on, £9,650. It's lost £23,185. with which you could buy 3,399 gallons of fuel and drive 203,973 miles. A 2018 Nissan Micra was £14,250 new. Retail today with 53,000 miles on, it's £7,650. It's lost £6,600 or £16,585 less than the Leaf. So with what you've lost on the Leaf, you could have bought a Nissan Micra at £14,250 and 883 gallons of fuel, £6,022, to cover the 53,000 miles and still have £2,335 left. Oh, and your car is still worth £7,650. Hang on, so you're £9,985 better off and you haven't parted with any money. Just what you've saved by not buying a cheap to charge EV. I've not even factored in the charging costs. Also, the Leaf has dropped £1,500 in just over a month, and the Micra is still the same price as it was last December.
And the Ford Puma hybrid down more than 24%. What about the Ford Puma EV that was one of the first to get the £3,750 government taxpayers grant on? How much do you think somebody's Puma EV went down? You know, the person who bought it just before the £3,750 grant came out, just bought it before that, how much do you think their Puma EV will have come down? It's more than 24%, isn't it? So you can stick your Puma hybrid story up your arse. However, the pace of decline has slowed compared with earlier in the year, with nearly half of the most searched for electrified models recording price increases in Q4. Toyota Yaris Hybrid, so a petrol then, rose by 3.7% during the quarter, while Tesla Model 3 and Renault Zoe values edged up by 0.5% and 1.4% respectively. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish, suggesting signs of stabilization in parts of the market. James Hoskin, managing director of AA Cars, said EV and hybrid prices continued to soften in Q4, but the slowdown in the rate of decline suggests the market is beginning to stabilize after a year of sharp adjustments. Trust me, when you start trying to get rid of all the December 31st registered EVs, that will drop like a stone. Much of last year's car price reset was driven by a surge in ex-fleet EVs, reaching the used market at the same time as manufacturers reduced new EV prices to stimulate demand. It's like Fred Carno's, isn't it? By Q4, those forces were easing, and improved consumer confidence helped support values for many popular models. Hosking added that petrol and diesel prices fell more sharply in Q4, partly due to increased supply following the September plate change and growing cost pressures on motorists. Meanwhile, Picasso reported that early January pricing has remained broadly flat, indicating the market has navigated the year-end slowdown successfully and is preparing for a steadier first quarter. Commenting on the broader market outlook, Darren Martin, automotive expert at Picasso, said, "The used car retail market remains strong." Yes, although there should be a warning around EVs. Big yes, which have dropped by the most of any fuel type in the last 2 months. OEMs need to focus on used EVs to ensure strong future residual values. Attractive finance rates on new electric cars can provide a short-term win, but the industry relies on healthy used values at the end of a lease. Now, the leasing industry relies on that. Nobody else does. Both datasets suggest that while used EV values remain under pressure, the rate of decline is slowing, with greater affordability and improving buyer confidence likely to shape fleet and retail demand in 2026. Well, I would have to say that vehicles can only get to a certain... I've said it before. You can have the worst selling vehicle in the world, you reduce it, and all of a sudden it becomes your most viewed vehicle and the one that gets the phone ringing. You can make anything sell with price. That's the only way they are getting EVs to sell, new and used, price. The only thing that does, anything around the item that you are distress selling gets contaminated and the rot sets in, and before you know it, everything is reduced. That's what's happening in the motor trade. Well, I think I started this year saying that this year is going to be tough. I was right, but last year wasn't as tough as this year is going to be, as you can see already. First couple of weeks into January, they're already pre-registering EVs, and that's only going to make the market go one way, and it's not a good way. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.